Hi, friends. I'm Courtney. I'm a performer, speaker, and a writer. I'm a mama to three crazy boys and a super sweet dog. I decided 12 years ago that I needed to create a business that worked for me instead of me working for it. I'm a multi passionate entrepreneur who may be considered a serial entrepreneur by some, but then I realized that all of my businesses focused on connection, community, and creating an incredible experience. I cannot wait to share with you how to make small but mighty changes in your life to affect your overall well being and create a life and business you want to get up in the morning for. That's right, my friends. I am the Renaissance Mama. Hi, friends. It's me, Courtney, the Renaissance Mama. And I want to thank you so much for taking the time to check out my show. If it's your first time here, well, then welcome. Like I said, I'm the Renaissance Mama. I chat about everything from parenting to running my small business to all the many, many, many hats I have to wear as the Renaissance Mama. And today I want you to celebrate with me because my youngest child turned 10, turned double digits recently. And it was funny because when it first was happening, he was very excited. He kind of was talking to me and we're trying to plan his whole birthday and birthday party. And I kept thinking, like, what's the big deal? And he said to me, Mom, I'm double digits now. This is a big deal. And at first, I kind of thought, no, it's not. It's just another birthday. It's just another day. But then it hit me. It hit me because my baby is now 10 years old. There is definitely something that is switching how I'm feeling about all of this. So I thought I would do an episode all about that, how my baby is now 10 years old. So, of course, it has to start from the very beginning. When my youngest was about to be born, I, of course, had two other very small boys at home with me at the time. And actually, just before my youngest was born, my oldest had broken his collarbone in junior kindergarten and had this sling. And all I remember is I remember looking after him, and I remember my middle son was still waking up in the middle of the night. And I remember my oldest, with a silly injury, he kept kind of moving and he would just lose all the color in his face and he would be in so much pain. And all I could think was, please do not have this baby yet. This baby needs to stay in me for as long as it possibly can because I couldn't look after another person with both my other boys and my husband and my life. Like I was like, nope. I know I wanted a baby. I know I'm pregnant. I know it's going to happen. I was like, I can't do it yet. And I actually, just before my youngest was born, my husband also had, I think it was his gallbladder surgery. So like there was just so many people that I was looking after that I thought there was no way I could have yet another baby. But luckily, he waited like a good boy until it was time. And then, of course, we were so excited to welcome him into the family. Funny story about his birth, and I don't love telling birth stories, but he was a very quick delivery. So much, in fact, that my boys, I tucked them to bed that night, went to the hospital later on and had the baby very, very quickly, got signed out of the hospital with the midwife and was home before they even woke up. So they went to bed. Mommy was big, pregnant, and in the morning, she was lying in bed with her brand new baby. So those boys actually have no idea what to expect when they get older. But why I thought this episode would be kind of fun to chat about and to chat about sort of that feeling of, having your baby be your last one is I just feel like I want to kind of, get rid of some of those myths, get rid of some of those like things that people say or things that you hear and tell you how it really is. So the first one is when people tell you you will know when you're done. I heard this so much. I heard this so much when I was just about to have my third. And even after I had him, people right off the back are like, are you going to try for the girl? What about the girl? What about the girl? And I was like, oh my God, I don't need the girl, number one. But I also didn't know if I was ready or not to no longer have babies. Like people made this big deal of like, hey, you'll know for sure, you'll feel it, you'll feel like your family's complete. And I didn't get that. I didn't get that feeling at all. And actually, a year after my youngest was obviously almost one, my husband wanted to have surgery, so he couldn't have babies anymore. And I was still like, whoa, wait a second. And he couldn't believe that. And I just said I wasn't wanting to have more. I just wasn't sure. So when people tell you that you're going to get this magical feeling that, the family's complete, it might not happen. I will say it did happen years later when my boys started getting a little bit bigger and we were all, being this family and living, just enjoying each other's company. I was like, oh, okay. Now I feel it. Now I feel that feeling of like my family is complete. Everybody is good. I don't want any more babies. But if you're waiting for that feeling to happen, like the moment you have your kid, it might not. So don't worry if it doesn't. The next sort of like myth or, thing you've heard that I kind of want to just dispel. And I want to say this was one that I probably put in my own head. But it's this feeling of getting back to that perfect, not even perfect, but getting back to a certain weight or a certain look or a certain feeling. And especially when you think this is my last baby, you keep thinking, okay, I'm going to get back to what I was before. Then I will tell you, my friends, you won't. You won't. And it's perfectly great that you won't, because you shouldn't. Your body has been through so much. Your body has done absolutely incredible things. You're getting older, you're changing, it changes, everything changes. So no, as moms, as women, we should not expect to get back to anything. And I feel like there's a little bit of this expectation of like, especially after you've had your last baby, that you can't just keep saying, oh, well, I had my baby then, like right now it's been 10 years. I have zero excuses, but I also don't care. I don't need excuses. This is the body I'm in now. This is the shape I'm in now. Things change. So if you are, one of those moms who've heard from so many people like, oh, it takes X amount of time or you'll get back, or this will happen. Like if it does, awesome. If it doesn't, awesome. You need to feel good in your body. Feel good and know what it's done and know what it can do, and just worry about that. I think we get so wrapped up in that concept of like, well, this is what this woman did and that's what that woman did. And now, my baby is this age. I should be this. Get rid of that. You don't need it. It's not going to serve you. It's not going to make you feel good. So if that is a thought that you have in your head, or if that's something you've heard from somebody else, I will tell you now, my friend, get rid of it. You don't need it. The other kind of sort of expectation, and once again, I feel like I put on myself, was being a entrepreneur and being a mom who was at home, working from home, but maybe not the kind of work that other people were doing, right? I probably wasn't working full-time hours because I was looking after my kids. So I think in my head, I always had this expectation of like, once they go to school, I'm going to, I don't know what I thought. I thought maybe I would get a 9 to 5 or I would do something else. And then I didn't. In fact, I ended up getting another sort of contract position that I could work from home, that I could still build my business because you know me, I've got multiple, but I could still build my businesses. I could still have this freedom. I could still look after my kids and be there for them. And when I finally kind of gave into the fact of like, wait a second, I shouldn't feel bad that I, didn't go back to this 9 to 5 or whatever in my head I thought I should be doing. But in fact, I've created that life that I always wanted. As a kid, I would have killed for my mom to have been home after school. I would have loved for my mom to show up at things at my school or events or just be there, but she couldn't. She worked long hours. She worked not close to where I was going to school. So it never happened. So here I had created these crazy expectations of like, okay, once that third kid goes to school, it's time for this job. And even people would joke, like, I feel like even my husband had joked like, okay, well, it's time. And then COVID hit. So we were all home. Right? That happened. And like I said, I ended up getting a different strategy. I ended up getting a different way of life, but it was actually what I had really wanted. It's what I needed. It's what I still need. What I am doing is not conventional. And if you're looking for conventional, you're looking to, watch somebody else on their Instagram and think, oh, I should be doing that. Once again, it's not going to serve you as a parent, as a business owner, as any of those things. It's just going to make you feel like you aren't doing something you're supposed to be doing. And maybe you are doing something even better. Maybe you're doing something that they would love to do, but they can't because they are in a situation. Maybe they would love to have the freedom that you have, but they can't. So if you have expectations for, what it looks like when your kids go to school and you feel like you need to get a job or do this, like, I would say goodbye to them. I would say goodbye to them if that's what you want. It might not be. It's not for everybody. I recently had a conversation with a mom who said she was a full-time nurse and COVID hit and then she was home with her kids and she hasn't gone back yet. And she, as of right now, is not planning on it because she loves being there for her kids when they come home. She loves being able to take them to all their activities. She loves doing all the things. And I was like, yeah, that's awesome. You should love that. That's amazing that you love that. You're so lucky that you have that. And she said she's grateful. So it's just that mindset shift, right? If we are setting up these unrealistic expectations of things that we may not even want, it does not serve us. So the next myth I kind of wanted to spell, and that is the one that you are going to remember all of the details. Because let me tell you, my friends, you are not. I recently had a conversation the other day of someone who also had 3 boys. And they're like, oh my God, like, how did you do it when you had, 3 under the age of 5? And I was like, wait, how did I do it? Like, I couldn't remember hardly anything. So if you are someone who's in that like midst of craziness right now, I say take the photos, like keep the memories, write down the notes, take the videos. Oh my gosh, one of my favorite things is hearing my boys' voices when they were so cute and so sweet. Oh my God, I'm getting emotional. But my oldest right now, who is like a 6'1" man, even though he's only 14, his voice message is when he was much younger. And we said, you are never allowed to change it because I love it so much. It's just so pure. It's so innocent. So if you are in that stage right now of your kids are little and you're like, oh my God, this is craziness. I'm going to remember how crazy this is. I'm going to remember all the things. You're not. So enjoy it. And I know everyone says that. I know everyone says things go so quickly, but it really does. Enjoy it, take pictures, make the books, like take the memories, take the videos, and just really, really enjoy it and take it for what it is, because it won't last forever. It really won't. But then you come into a stage of something different. And that's kind of what happened recently when we were on this family vacation, which I'm definitely going to have to do a whole episode on because it was really eye-opening. My kids are definitely on to this next stage. Well, of course they are. Someone's double digits. But on to this next stage. So the relationships we have with them, it's starting to look different. And the vacation we had was totally different, even from the last one we went a year ago. Like, they are just becoming these people and they have opinions and they have a lot of humor. They have a lot of ideas, and they are just so much fun to be around. Not that they weren't when they were younger. They were just as much fun and cute and crazy and wild. But this is definitely starting to feel like a different stage, a different part of motherhood. So if your kids are little right now, if they're any stage, even if they're big, like take photos, enjoy it, write down the memories, take videos, be present, be so present with them and enjoy it, because I know it is so cliche, but it's going to go by way too quickly. So those were some of the myths I kind of wanted to just get rid of. Now I want to share with you some of the top parenting lessons I have learned over, now that my baby is 10 years old, so the past 10 years. So the first one will be, every kid, and I know most parents know this, but every kid is so different. People look at me and they're like, you have 3 boys. It must be wild. It must be this. It must be that. They all must be this. And they're not. They're so unique. They're so different. How I speak with each of them is different. How I ask them to do things is different. How I follow up with them is different. How they learn, how they make friends, how they do anything in life is so different. All 3 of them play hockey. You know me, I'm at the arena all the time. How they all play hockey is so different. So even when you have multiple kids and multiple of the same gender, you think, oh, there's going to be similarities. There's going to be this, going to be that. Nope, sorry, my friends. Every kid is so different, and what they need from you as a parent might look different. So you do have to really start realizing how they take in information, how they learn, how they want to be appreciated. I did an episode a while back about the 5 love languages. And I did it not only as a perspective, obviously as a partner and someone in love, but as someone in business and as a parent. Knowing that each of my kids want a different way to be loved or to be, spoken to, or whatever their language is so key. And learning that earlier on in life, I think just makes such a difference. So know that one of the biggest lessons I've learned as a parent is to know that each of my kids is so different, so unique. Really know what they need. Know that disciplining them looks different. All 3 of them, it all looks different, because once again, it goes back to the ways they want to be loved, or the ways they want to be asked to do things, or the way they take in information is so unique and so different. So really understanding that each kid is so unique, and you've got to really change the way you do things for each of those children if you want them to be really successful. The next probably parenting lesson that I feel like I have always stuck with is that you've got to choose your battles wisely. My husband and I don't always agree on, where to draw the line or what things to really kind of are your non-negotiables. And I think I'm definitely more lenient, but that's because I am with these boys so much more. So there are things that I'm like, yes, I will not accept this. I do not like that. I do not like this. But for the most part, I really do choose my battles wisely. And I have done this ever since they were small, because I knew I couldn't be a parent who was, always going to be on them for all the things. That's not how I work either. So I knew from the earliest age that yes, there were certain things that I don't approve of. Of course, I want them safe. I want them to be acting respectful. I want them to treat each other good, treat other people good. But I also knew that there was going to be times that I was going to let things slide. Hey, it's not the biggest deal, right? So it is funny. And as they get older, I can definitely see that they have taken some of those lessons. And then there's some things that they're also not that, they don't care about as much, like cleaning their room, because I guess I never really said clean your room all the time. So now that they're getting bigger and they're a little bit messier, maybe it's something I should have thought about. But like I said, I think there's going to be things that are part of who you are and who you want your kids to be. And there's also going to be things that you're like, you know what? That's not something that I'm going to fight over. That's not something that I would pick to battle over. So it's going to just happen. The next parenting lesson that I feel like I have tried my very best to stick with or have a part of my life is do not compare. And I mean this by do not compare children. Do not compare parenting styles. Just do not compare. It's not going to serve you. It's not going to help you. It's not going to do what you think. So you might as well avoid it. Like I said before, every kid is so different. So to start comparing like, oh, this one was this and this one did that and this one looked like this and this one weighed this or all the things, like it just goes back to they're so different. They're so unique. They need different things that it's not worth your time. It doesn't make sense. And to stress about things that you can't control, that is what's going to be so hard as a parent. So you do have to just let it go sometimes and try your best not to compare your kid to other kids, whether it be friends or school friends, if they're doing different things. You've got to just let them be who they are, appreciate them for who they are, and encourage that. I know there's so many times when, parents tell me a story about their kid, I'm thinking, oh, should mine be doing that? Like, should have I done that? I still remember one of the first times I went and took my oldest into the doctor's office. And they're like, oh, can he wave yet? And I was like, I don't know. They're like, well, why can't he wave? And I thought, because I haven't taught him to wave. That wasn't something that was on my to-do list. I didn't know. So just remember, your kid is so unique. It's who they are. You're who you are. Like, just let them be. No need to compare. And then as a parent, like I said, no need to compare. There was definitely a time where I would look at friends on their Facebook pages or Instagram and think, oh my goodness, they're doing this or they're doing that, or how do they keep their house so clean? And what am I missing? What am I not doing? Their kids do this, or I don't know, but you got to stop, because like I said, comparing yourself or comparing your kids, it doesn't help anyone. It's not going to make you feel good, and it doesn't make any difference. Similar as those kids are so unique, you're so unique, and how you parent is so unique, and your relationship with your kids is so unique. So you don't need to compare. And then also the reminder that like what we're seeing on a lot of those posts, that's their highlight reel. Like that's something that they are, oh, look at me, rather than the truth, the everyday, the nitty gritty. Like, so don't compare, know what you have, and be so grateful for it. So if that is some of my top parenting lessons, now I want to share some of my top parenting tips. And these are ones, like I said, that I have taken with me for the last 10, well, even almost 15 years if you want to start going from my oldest, but going from my youngest, especially when you have multiple young kids. So here's one of my biggest tips, and I always used to share this in my mommy groups. When you have a little one, like a newborn, and you have a toddler also at home, what I used to do is I would prep a lot of the snacks ahead of time and just put them on top of the counter in little bowls, little containers, because I promise you, the moment you want to sit down to either put the baby down for a nap or feed the baby or change the baby, that is when your toddler is going to want a snack. And we all know toddlers do not want to wait. So that was one of my biggest tips. Put all the snacks up, prep them, get them ready for the day. And then when you sit down to feed your baby and the toddler wants something, you're like, oh, it's there. I knew you were going to want this, so go get it. Another really great parenting tip that I always just, love is make sure you are making that special time for your kids. And when you have multiple, what does that look like? How can you, have a special mommy sun date with this child, or a special time with this child, or a special time, right? Not only as a group all together, because that's so important, but also finding time that you can have that one-on-one time with your kids. And you let them be your guide. My boys, still like me to say goodnight to them. Even the biggest one. The biggest one doesn't want me to lie down. He just wants me to say goodnight. Middle one's now just goodnight. But the other one still wants a little snuggle just before bedtime. And I am letting them lead that way. And it's funny because there were so many years where like I was exhausted or I was working or something was happening. And, they're like, Mom, come lay down with me. And I thought, oh, I'm so tired. But I am so grateful that I did it. So I would say a good little tip is make sure you're making that time. Put it in your calendar. Make those dates so important. And even when you're exhausted, take the time to have that extra snuggle or the extra lie down because, like I said before, it's going to go by way, way too quick. Another quick parenting tip, and I've shared this one before in one of my episodes about something for birthdays. I don't wrap presents. I hide them around my house and I do a scavenger hunt, and my boys absolutely love it. But if that's not your thing, I say just make fun family traditions. Make something and they will tell you what they love and then continue it, right? Like it's so cute that that's something that I probably did on a whim and now it is like they love it. They're like, well, do I have my scavenger hunt? Is it going to happen today? So really create those little traditions within your family, see what happens with them and have a good time doing it. And that is it for the show today, my friends. So once again, thank you for checking out the show and thank you for celebrating the fact that my baby has turned 10, double digits. I'm not necessarily what I thought I'd be doing, but it's so much better. So I hope you enjoyed some of my stories. I hope you enjoyed some of my myths, my lessons, and my tips. So as always, thank you so much for checking out the show and continue our conversation. Visit me at therenaissancemama.com. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. What age is going to be one that hits home? Like when your kid turns, what age? What is the age that's really going to kind of give you a shake? Because I tell you, my littlest turning 10 it's a pretty big deal. So let me hear from you. As always, thank you so much for checking out the show, and bye for now, friends.